and welcome to my 517 Follow Friday series. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Dawn Haddad, Director of Development for Ellie's Place here in Lansing. Thanks for chatting with me today.
It's so good to see you.
You as well. I'm sure that you've given like an elevator pitch, elevator speech type of thing before when you talk to people about Ellie's Place. But if you could just give a general explanation of what Ellie's Place is, there might be some viewers that just aren't familiar.
Great. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share our mission. Ellie's Place is a local nonprofit here. We provide grief support to children, teens, and young adults here in our community at no cost to the family, as long as the family needs the support. We also partner with local schools and do support groups right at the schools as well.
Such an amazing service. I have friends and some family members that have used it, and it's just unparalleled. Let's kind of talk about some of the different age ranges or the different groups and how those are structured for the individuals. So can you just share a little bit about that?
Yep, our grief support groups at our building here near downtown Lansing are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. And each of those nights, we have groups for, like I said, children and teens. We have a typical night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, would have 5 groups for kids, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, depending. On Monday nights, we do have a young adult group, but our groups are preschool, kindergarten, early elementary, upper elementary, middle school, and high school. So if you happen to drive by our building any Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night and see a lot of cars in the parking lot, that's because we have those groups going on Monday night. Like I said, we also have a young adult support group, and that's for ages 18 to 26. And any adult who is bringing a child to one of our grief support groups can participate in a group for adults as well. The adult groups are split by the type of loss. So again, any Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, if you drive by our building and see all those cars, it's because kids are getting support, but their adult caregiver who's bringing them to group is also getting support as well. And they would be participating in a child loss, spouse or partner loss, or other significant loss group if they choose to. Not all of our adult caregivers choose to participate in a group. And our programming is mostly for kids, but we do offer that support for adults as well.
Okay. And I've had the opportunity to visit the building. I was able to do that recently, and I'm sure there were some updates when I came and visited that time, but I was really impressed. The downstairs, I think, was where the teen area was. So it's just,
Yeah.
you guys really have done a great job of accommodating the area to be inviting for those different age groups. So I know that you guys are always welcoming people in to explore and take tours. But I really do love how you guys have made that space work so well for those different age groups.
Thank you. Yeah, the downstairs is the teen zone, and that's where our middle school and high school groups meet each night. And then our most recent renovation, we've been in our building now, this is our 21st year in our building, and we're starting to see a little need for some TLC in our building. We renovated our library, which is a beautiful, super welcoming, really cool space. And again, you came and took a tour. If anybody else is interested in coming to take a tour, please give our office a call or reach out to me. We love to be able to show off our building and share our mission with anyone who wants to learn more about what we do.
Great. So these groups meet in the evenings. What are some of the things that they do? What activities or how are the kids involved with the leaders of these groups to get these grief support services?
So our groups are an hour long each night, and families come. If they're a Monday family, they come every Monday. Tuesday families every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you get the picture. And we have a group of volunteers. We have about 100 volunteers every week. It's really amazing. Our volunteers are just dedicated, and they're just the best. So we have a group of volunteers for Monday, a group of volunteers for Tuesday, group for Wednesday, group for Thursday. So they really form cohesive groups each night where the same volunteers are there each week. We have 3 to 4 adult volunteers per group for the kids. So our preschool kindergarten group has, 3 or 4 adults in it. Early elementary also has like 3 or 4 adults each night. early elementary, middle school, they all have 3 to 4 adult volunteers who have been specially trained to facilitate our groups. And part of that facilitation, like you mentioned, is different activities. And the activities really center around several things. It could be sharing memories of their person who died, and really, talking about that, sharing and processing things that have come up because of this death in their it doesn't have to be in their family either. Some people think that a child is only grieving, can only come to Ellie's Place if they're grieving a death of someone in their family. It can be the death of anybody that they know. So, like I said, they can process through some of the things that happen surrounding their, feelings and thoughts about that death, and their feelings and emotions in general, and just knowing that they're not alone. Grief is very isolating, but making sure that kids have a safe place to grieve and to learn some coping skills and strategies. So the events might be, one that I like to share is that around the holiday time, especially if it is the first holiday without that person, to make a plate or a placemat of some kind and put different things, write or draw things that remind you of that person, because there's going to be an empty seat at the table this year.
Yep.
And how can we acknowledge that person, might still be in our hearts, and we want to sometimes share memories about that person. And one way to do it, like I said, we have different activities, and could be just creating a plate or placemat to put at that person's at the table.
That is a lovely thing. I did not know that you guys did that.
Yeah, that's one of the many activities we have. I would say probably thousands of different activities that we can put together and do in our group rooms. And they're all very meaningful and special. So our groups run weekly throughout the year, and that's basically September through May. And then in June, July, and August, we have what's called family night. So instead of meeting every week during the summer, we meet one time each month. So one time in June, one time in July, one time in August. And when families come in during our family nights, instead of going to their age groups, so instead of being split up by the ages, they work on a project as a family. And the one that they're doing, our June activity for family night, is taking, it's like a grief tree, and just taking a picture of a tree, like drawing out a tree and taking hearts, and those kind of become the leaves, and writing things on there. They can write things that maybe remind them of their person who died, or some things that they share together as a family, and just to create something as a family where they can talk about and share their grief and their memories together.
Right. That's great. Now, you mentioned you have a lot of volunteers.
A lot.
Are these just random people like myself, or do you have licensed professionals? What's the makeup of these volunteers?
It's anyone and everyone. We have some volunteers who come from Michigan State University. Maybe they're working on a degree or something, and they come and volunteer for about a year. But then we have people in our community who have been volunteering 20, 30 years. Our organization started here in 1991, right in the Lansing area. And we have branches in Flint, Ann Arbor, and Grand Rapids. But as I said, we have about 100 volunteers each week. And it really is a great mix up of people from all over, all different types of jobs. It doesn't have to be anyone who is in the mental health profession.
Okay.
And we do volunteer trainings twice a year for people to become facilitators, but we also need people on our program nights to be greeters, so that they might not be working in the groups and facilitating the groups, but they could be greeters. They could work in our library. We also have people who work just at our events. They come and volunteer at the events. I volunteered at our events for many years before I got a job full-time at Ellie's Place, and our events are awesome. But yeah, there are lots of different ways for people to get involved through volunteering. Sometimes it's people who are former participants in our support groups who then come back because they really believe in our mission and kind of want to pay it forward and
Right.
appreciate the support.
Yep, I've got a couple of friends that were in that exact same situation.
Yeah.
So, are there any, you might have touched on this already, but are there any unique support groups that viewers might not be aware of?
One is that we have this young adult support group, which a lot of people don't think about. Our mission is to provide support for children and teens, but we also include young adults in that, and that's the 18 to 26-year-old age group. Once again, all of our support groups, all of our support resources are free. And that young adult group is 18 to 26-year-olds, and they meet on Monday nights. And as I said, any adult who brings a child to group, any adult caregiver can participate in a group at the same time for adults as well. We also partner with local schools, and a lot of people aren't aware that we go to the schools and we do a group right at the school. At our building, our grief support groups it's kind of open-ended. Families can start when they choose to start, and when they feel they've gotten what they needed out of Ellie's Place, they can close out of the group. Our school groups are 8-week sessions. It's a little bit different. We have a special curriculum for those, and it's 8 weeks. I'm proud to say we did 34 school groups for this school year. Yeah.
Nice.
And we have 7 licensed mental health providers on our staff who, and this isn't a special group, but this is kind of a special thing that people might not know that we do, is that anyone in the community can call in and talk to one of our bereavement coordinators about grief. Maybe they have questions about grief. Maybe they have questions. A lot of times it's how to word things when they're talking to children or talking to someone else. But our 7 licensed mental health providers, our bereavement coordinators, take phone calls. They're clinical consultations, basically, and they can talk to people on the phone just to kind of help give them some resources or help them, like I said, find the right wording to use. And we do get people calling in for resources that we can suggest different referrals, whether it's to an individual therapist or to adult support groups or other organizations in town. We do our best to kind of refer out if needed. But again, people can call our office if they have questions about grief.
Okay. Why don't we talk a little bit about just the details for the process? So how do families get started? And, what do they have to go through in order to start receiving those services?
Yeah, it's really pretty simple. Everything is free. We don't charge for our services. We don't have people fill out insurance forms for our services. It's free. So people typically will call our office and speak to one of our bereavement coordinators and then set up a time to come in. When they come in, they fill out some basic intake paperwork and they get a tour of our building. Just to better understand what our program looks like. And then they, with our bereavement coordinator, work out a night that works best for them to come to groups. As I said, we have groups Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Families come once a week to whichever night that they sign up for. And that's it. All of our services are free and free for our partnering schools as well.
Okay, easy peasy.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. The last thing I was going to ask you about is events. I know you mentioned that you used to volunteer at events. I did that a few times myself, but do you have anything coming up that you want people to know about? Maybe they can get involved and donate or volunteer or something.
Yeah, thank you for asking, because Ellie's Race is coming up on Saturday, July 20th. It is such a fun, whether you are a walker or a runner, it is a really fun event. We have over 1,200 participants. It's held at Jackson National Life Insurance Company, just off the highway there in Okemos. If you haven't been to our event, let me tell you, it's not just a walk and a run. We have different vendors out there. A lot of fun for families. We also have, it's a 3-mile walk or run, but we also have a kids mile and a kids dash. And a lot of our participants come as teams. It's usually more than half of our participants are there as a team. And a lot of times it's in honor or memory of somebody who died, and they wear shirts. It's not a requirement, but a lot of times we'll see people wearing shirts with somebody's picture or their team name on it. And it's a really special celebration. For a lot of our participants kind of to come back. People, some people that I know participated in our groups make it a point to come back with former group members, people that they've met that were in their groups, to do Ellie's Race each year, which is pretty special. And to find out more information about that, you can go to elliesrace5k.org or just go to our Ellie's Place website, and that's ELESPLACE, Ellie's Place, 1L. And there actually is a real Ellie. She died at the age of 11 months old, and her family was grieving and looking for resources in the community, didn't find what they were looking for, and kind of partnered up with Junior League of Lansing and Jerry Corey, who was teaching a class at Lansing Community College about children's grief. And here we are 33 years later.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the race coming up. I'm debating on whether or not to sign up. Ellie's Race was actually my first ever 5K in 2011.
Wow,
and
good for you.
I went through the whole couch to 5K. I did it. I ran the whole thing faster than I've ever run before. But I'm pretty sure that was the only 5K I ever actually, like, I've done the turkey trot before, but
Mhm.
still. But it was so much fun. I'm sure it's
Mhm.
changed since 2011, but yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Thank you.
So,
Well, thanks. We also need volunteers for that event. We have over 100 volunteers to help put that together, whether it's the day before to work setting things up or working the registration area or the day of the event. You get there pretty early and you're out of there by about 10:30 if you're a volunteer. It is super fun. It's one of my favorite days of the entire year.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I will share all of your contact information in the caption for the video, and I'll try to include the links and stuff for the Ellie's race coming up. And if anyone watching has lost someone, or if you know someone who's lost a loved one and you'd benefit from the services, I
Mhm.
encourage you to reach out. It's an easy process, it's
Mhm.
free. And then if anybody's interested in being featured on the Follow Friday series, you can send me an email at Katrina at cornerstonelegalplc.com. Thanks for watching.